Alright, okay, hold on. Everybody shut up about Cool Cat. They're good movies. No, they're masterpieces. We've been watching them all wrong, and Daddy Derek is a genius. Let me explain. Hi, I'm Steve and I'm an alcoholic, but thanks to a little film called Cool Cat Saves the Kids, I've learned to overcome my addiction of binge drinking and live a happy and cool life.
Exquisite!
What am I talking about? Well, first, for those who don't know, Cool Cat is the brainchild and literal child of Derek Savage, aka Daddy Derek.
Hey, Daddy Derek!
This magical piece of film history is about a 6-foot-tall, Barney-esque orange cat child who helps teach other children how to stop bullying, what to do if you find a gun, and overall, just how to be cool. However, this film is mostly watched ironically and mocked by just about everybody, and that's not cool. Why is that not cool? Because both Cool Cat Saves the Kids and Cool Cat Kid Superhero isn't just about how to be cool. This film skillfully hides the fact that it's an entire allegory for alcoholism and the 12 Steps Recovery Program. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Cool Cat cured my alcoholism, so everybody shut the fuck up and stop making fun of it. You hear me? We can stop now. It's a work of cinematic art.
Let's go tell Mama Cat. Oh, what was that?
For anyone unfamiliar with the 12 Steps Recovery Program, it's a collection of guided principles outlining a course of action for recovery from addiction. It started in Alcoholics Anonymous and then was replicated and used in other addiction programs. It's a very helpful tool to overcome an addiction that many people swear by. If you're interested, I've added what each of the 12 steps are down below in the description, so you can check that out if you want to. And hey, while you're down there, give the video a like and maybe subscribe. Or not. You're an adult, do what you want.
And I'm having fun.
Anyway, so I'm sure none of you know what the fuck I'm talking about with this alcoholic Cool Cat subtext, so I'll break this analysis down into the following parts to guide you through this work of art. Cool Cat does the following. Gives us warning signs of alcoholism, presents steps 1 through 9 in sequential order, then shows a sequence of how to handle thoughts of a relapse, and finally wrapping it up with the final maintenance steps 10, 11, and 12. And for what it's worth, this review will be focused mostly on Cool Cat Saves the Kids from 2015 and not its almost identical sequel, Cool Cat Kid Superhero from 2018. I'll explain the reasoning for this later, but for now, without further ado, indulge with me, if you will, as we dissect and give what could be the first actual positive review of Cool Cat Saves the Kids.
Are you ready? Yes, sir! Okay, let's rock!
So, like I said, the film first opens with a sequence about the warning signs of alcoholism. Daddy Derek's choice to do this was one of a genius. Instead of jumping right into the 12 steps, he introduces most of the main cast and subtly implants at least one characteristic of an alcoholic in all of them. This helps to give us a wide scope of the theme of the film. And no matter where you are in your alcoholic career, you should have no problem connecting with at least one of these characters. First, we're introduced to Cool Cat. Right away, we can see him wearing a shirt with his name on it while he's creating a sign that's all about how awesome he apparently is. This clearly points out that Cool Cat is an egomaniac, and with that, probably very selfish. This can be a statement on alcoholics having a somewhat selfish mindset, putting their drinking before everything and everyone else. And it's even harder to acknowledge this if you're egocentric. But thanks to Cool Cat, he's warning us to keep our egos in check. Next, the doorbell rings and Cool Cat claims he can't get to the door because his hands are full of nothing but lies. We're then introduced to none other than Daddy Derek, and also Maria. Daddy Derek is excluded from having any characteristic of an alcoholic, but as I'll soon explain, he does play a major role in the 12 Steps Recovery Program. Maria, however, does share an alcoholic characteristic. While her and Cool Cat shoot the shit, it's evident that Maria is slurring her words.
I'm in a work area with a blanket and some more science supplies.
A very common trait amongst alcoholics. They both head outside to hang out and then start using their phones inappropriately by replying to texts from strangers.
I just got a text, but I don't know who it is.
Well, there's only one way to find out. So, see what it says.
Listen to what someone just texted me. You're ugly and your hair looks like rat hair.
This is probably just referencing drunk texts that we can probably all plead guilty of sending.
Hey, Cool Cat, I just got a text from the same person. Should I open it?
Sure. You know, maybe they feel bad about that really mean text, and now they want to apologize. So see what it says.
Oh no, this text says that I'm fat and ugly.
Got him!
We find out that the culprit of the text messages was none other than Butch the Bully, the surface level antagonist of the film. After sending the text messages, Butch decides to spray paint one of Cool Cat's signs. He quickly stops after getting some of the spray paint in his eyes, but then moments later finds another spray paint bottle and decides to yet again vandalize someone's property.
This gives me a brilliant idea.
This contradiction makes no sense. However, it can be easily perceived as an obvious allegory for alcoholics not being able to stop their drinking once they start, with the cans of spray paint referencing portions of alcohol. It's like the common phrase, 1 is too many and 100 is never enough. Then Cool Cat rushes over to stop Butch the Bully and his 2 bully friends from spray painting someone's property. In this scene, we get a heartbreaking line.
We tag in other people's things so that they know we were there.
Nobody cares for us. That's why we do it.
It's apparent that these 2 boys are lonely and have self-destructive ways of getting attention, which is more so just a cry for affection. Unfortunately, loneliness is a major trigger for alcoholics to drink, but Cool Cat, being a sort of white angel on their shoulder, tells them he loves them and that they shouldn't feel lonely. Personally, I nearly cried when I watched the scene for the first time. It's beautiful, and Daddy Derek, you are beautiful. So right after this, we're introduced to Mama Cat, Cool Cat's mom, Derek's wife, who he's very attracted to, and I guess impregnated.
You fine-looking kitty cat, you.
Hush up.
So Daddy Derek invites Maria to go to Hollywood, but she declines, and immediately says she has to go home. Now, speaking as an alcoholic, there were plenty of times when I would be hanging out with my friends, but then when it was approaching the time liquor stores would be closing, I would lie and say I had to leave for some bullshit reason, and then proceed to rush to a liquor store so I could quickly go home and have a few hours to myself getting blackout drunk. Shameful, yes, thank you, I know. And just to be clear, I'm not saying the character Maria or any of these characters are alcoholics in the film, but they do have at least one characteristic that is similar to an alcoholic. So I believe Maria claiming she has to leave early is probably just a lie. Not only that, but this is referenced again when Cool Cat claims he has to go upstairs to check his emails, but then is clearly just surfing the web. These are both references to isolating oneself in order to indulge in your specific vice. However, Daddy Derek probably doesn't mind Cool Cat and Maria leaving because he knows he'll be able to flip Mama Cat over like a dirty dog and fuck all her 9 lives out right on that casting couch.
Fine-looking kitty cat, you.
So while Mama Cat is downstairs getting stuffed with that savage D, Cool Cat seems to be having a grand old time isolating and indulging.
Look at me! I'm surfing the web!
However, he gets an insulting email that triggers him to indulge further into the escapism that alcohol and other drugs can offer. Not only that, but there's a follow-up email claiming that the sender will get him tomorrow.
I'm a bully and I'm gonna get you tomorrow? Oh no!
This could be warning the audience that your vice can turn against you, seem more like a bully than a friend, and will give you little to no control against it, stating it'll get you tomorrow, and the next day, and every day after that unless you get a grip on this. And unfortunately, Cool Cat's response is to numb the pain and slide further into a blackout. This is obvious seeing as Cool Cat seems to be in a black, drunken oblivion. And folks, this brings us to step number 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. In his blackout, Cool Cat sees a hallucination of Butch the Bully, the character who mostly embodies overindulgence and who previously inflicted the most stress onto Cool Cat. His first reaction is to hit Butch, a sign of not having control over his emotions. Then he contemplates hiding from Butch, but hiding or ignoring a problem would eventually only create more stress over time and a stronger need for Cool Cat to escape through alcohol. It's at this moment that Cool Cat embodies the powerful time when addicts admit they have a problem and must believe in themselves to overcome their addiction.
I'm gonna learn to stand up for myself! Yes!
From this point forward, Cool Cat will begin his attempt at living a sober life. So Cool Cat wakes up with the shakes and proceeds to piss out the remaining alcohol in his system. He's then greeted by Daddy Derek, who's just got done making
a bowl of cereal with some fresh fruit for you.
The inclusion of fresh fruit in the bowl is deliberate. See, the body converts alcohol into sugar, which causes a spike in blood sugar levels. When alcoholics first quit drinking, their blood sugar levels drop and they develop sugar cravings. So Daddy Derek is just being a nice daddy and helping Cool Cat through his withdrawal symptoms by putting fruit in his bowl of cereal. Step number 2. Came to believe a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So while Cool Cat and Daddy Derek make a quick drive over to Hollywood, Cool Cat gets invited over the phone to be in the Hollywood parade. This will allow Cool Cat to bring happiness to the kids, a very selfless gesture. Then, after Cool Cat promises Mama Cat he'll keep his room clean, we see him take 12 steps up the stairs. This is an obvious metaphor for the 12 Steps recovery program and the higher power Cool Cat now believes in. This is a visual representation of having aspirations to complete the 12 steps and ascend to a higher plane. Step number 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. And who is our God? Surprise, surprise, yes, you guessed it, Derek Savage is Cool Cat's daddy and his God.
I work like a damn dog to get to be able to do this, so it don't get to come overnight. But hey, let's get back to it.
There was some foreshadowing to this when Daddy Derek took Cool Cat for a drive into Hollywood, but is confirmed here when Cool Cat asks him to help him regarding the parade. Daddy Derek is also reading a book that looks incredibly similar to the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book, being the proper size and most copies having a blue cover. Cool Cat and Daddy Derek head inside to work on step number 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. This moral inventory of Cool Cat comes in the form of some songs him and Daddy Derek write. This is obvious as the writing is all about Cool Cat's past behaviors that presumably led him to a life of binge drinking.
Cool Cat loves the boogie-woogie.
Oh my gosh, Daddy Derek!
Step number 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. In this exact sequential order, Cool Cat takes his moral inventory and admits the nature of his wrongs first to Daddy Derek, aka God, with the song Cool Cat Loves to Rock. He then admits to himself with the song Cool Cat Boogie, and as part of the grand finale of this step, he admits to not just one human being, but to the entire Hollywood parade the exact nature of his wrongs. This is a triumphant moment in Cool Cat's life. He's admitted to himself he has a substance abuse problem, found God, and now has the courage to tell the world about his wrongs. This is a highly inspirational moment to experience as a viewer and is why I believe it's totally justified that this parade scene goes on for nearly 5 fucking minutes. Moving into the second act of this motion picture, Cool Cat heads over to party with Vivica A. Fox and Eric Estrada. Suddenly, Butch the Bully, the closest embodiment of overindulgence, shows up and attempts to completely destroy the foundation Cool Cat has built for himself. Cool Cat has a poor reaction to the situation and quickly fills up with shame. This brings us to step number 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all of these defects of character, and step number 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. So step 6 is implied when Cool Cat claims he got scared and became confused. 2 defects of his character that he would be asking Daddy Derek to remove, but it was just mentioned moments ago that Daddy Derek would drop Cool Cat off at the party and then go back home to pick up Mama Cat. Personally, I think this is just a lie so that Daddy Derek can stick his daddy dick in Mama Cat.
You fine looking kitty cat, you.
So with the absence of Daddy Derek, Cool Cat instead asks Vivica to remove these defects as part of step 7. It doesn't take long for Butch the Bully to approach Cool Cat and Maria once more, but with the lessons he just learned, he yells loudly at Butch to leave him alone.
Give me your lunch money, or I'll destroy your sandcastle!
No! You've bullied me for the last time, boy.
I can't believe it. That bully is back for more. This time, I want to talk to you.
Yeah, I want to have a word with him too.
Wait. Vivica, look. Look at Cool Cat in action.
Kick my sandcastle over one more time and I will take my sandbox shovel and gut you like the filthy swine you are. I will hoist your body above the Hollywood sign and let your sickly blood rain down and trickle the faces of all you love. I will proceed to chop you up and feed you to the rats, then kill all your loved ones so that no trace of you remains, except for when I pleasure myself to the thought of your wide eyes as your life leaves your body.
Yeah, and you better stop right now. I'm gonna tell my mom you yelled at me.
Good job, Maria.
This is a powerful statement on standing up for yourself and not giving into your emotions. Side note, I too have found it helpful to fight cravings of alcohol by going into a liquor store and screaming very loudly at pint-sized bottles of bottom shelf liquor. This usually causes me to get kicked out indefinitely, solidifying not being welcome back and a guarantee that I can no longer buy alcohol in that store. Step number 8, made a list of all the persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. This step is presented after Cool Cat finds out about a writing contest from one of Daddy Derek's entertainment magazines. Yikes. He goes outside to start writing about Trolley the Trout, someone Cool Cat may have harmed in the past. He stays out there for hours writing his amends. God shows up and asks to see what Cool Cat wrote, but Cool Cat tells him he'll have to wait. This is important because step 8 shouldn't be rushed. You need to take your time thinking about absolutely anyone you may have harmed in the past and make amends to not only them, but to have a peace of mind for yourself. Step number 9. Make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. This step is very briefly implied the next morning when Cool Cat comes up with the last line of his book, or in other words, his last amends. He quickly scribbles that Trolley the Trout had made a new friend. This could be implying one of two things. First, since Trolley the Trout is never seen and cats do have a history of killing and eating fish, it's possible that Cool Cat had massacred and devoured Trolley the Trout back while he was using, and although unable to hear Cool Cat's amends because he's been eaten alive, Cool Cat acknowledges his misbehavior and writes a happy ending to Trolley the Trout's death as a way of apologizing.
Yay!
But I actually think this is just all a transition into an entirely new sequence of the film, a sequence that showcases thoughts of relapsing.
Oh no!
If you noticed, Cool Cat has gone to bed and woken up multiple times throughout the film, yet this is the first time where we get an animation of the moon and the sun rotating around Cool Cat's house. Not only that, but the shot is played in reverse. I believe this is implying that Cool Cat may be regressing back to his old mindset of binge drinking. Not only that, but while Cool Cat reaches for his notebook after waking up, a framed photo of him falls over. This is a possible sign of impending doom, similar to a scene in The Big Lebowski when the character Donnie fails at bowling a strike for the first time and then moments later suffers a heart attack and dies. And not only that, but while Cool Cat is doing his exercises inside, despite it being a beautiful day, it's clear that his room has become filthy again. This contradicts his agreement from earlier to keep his room clean.
You promised to keep your room clean.
Ooh, I promise I'll keep it real clean and nice and shiny.
Clean up your room.
All of this could be implying that his life is slowly starting to become unmanageable again. Another sign of fighting thoughts of a relapse is a lack of appetite, something Cool Cat displays when he sits down to eat his favorite breakfast, but does not seem to finish it.
I'm finished, and that was great.
Cool Cat then dances outside while playing a song that's all about him boogie-woogieing. Remember, the boogie-woogie song was used earlier to showcase Cool Cat making a moral inventory of the nature of his wrongs, so dancing along to the song could be implying that he's romanticizing his past boogie-woogieing with alcohol. After a sequence of events resulting in Butch the Bully being arrested and thrown in a cop car, Cool Cat rushes over to talk to the police officer. The man playing the police officer is Steve Crest. Steve Crest is an actor most known for his roles in various adult films, and although this may be subjective, I believe that most adult films are showing you a false idea of what love is in a very excessive way. Flip that around and it could be said that Cool Cat uses alcohol excessively to produce a false sense of feelings. As Derek Savage is not a stranger to this kind of adult material, I believe that this is just a vague example of art imitating life imitating art. And if that wasn't enough, a mere 10 seconds later we get this extremely meta line.
You're just like in the movies. They should make a kids movie about you. We'll name it Cool Cat Saves the Kids.
Full circle, baby. So continuing with the relapse sequence, Cool Cat and his friends decide to play treasure hunters. This could be an allegory for them searching deep within themselves. Shortly into the game, they somehow happen to just find a fucking gun in Cool Cat's backyard. Metaphorically, the gun could represent an incredibly lethal deep-rooted issue that, if not dealt with properly, would surely cause Cool Cat to relapse and throw away everything he's been working towards. Not only that, but Butch suddenly sneaks back into the yard and steals the gun, pairing the deep-rooted issue with the overindulging thoughts of drinking. The stakes are high, and Cool Cat never acknowledging that the gun was found in his own backyard could represent denial of him ever actually having a problem. But Cool Cat rushes over to his god, who is nurturing his land, and is reassured that everyone will be safe by Daddy Derek's side. Then we're shown the same animation from moments ago, but this time plays normally, symbolizing that Cool Cat has made the right move by calling to his god to help him through the situation and is on the right path to completing the steps. Then in the following scene, Cool Cat and his friends, protected by their god, safely make it to school, while Butch and Jamie are found with the gun and arrested once more. And in the final scene of the film, we're presented with steps 10 and 11 together. This is deliberate, since steps 10, 11, and 12 are considered to be the maintenance steps, which are primarily focused on keeping yourself in check and providing help to others when needed. So step number 10, continue to take personal inventory and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it, is referenced when Jamie confronts Cool Cat and Maria and admits to his misbehavior.
I wanted to apologize for all the dumb stuff I did.
And step number 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out, is referenced when all three of them recap all the crazy shenanigans they've been through and how they'll continue to handle themselves through stressful situations.
We learned that it's important to stand up for yourself and not be afraid to yell and draw attention.
And lastly, after the end credit sequence, we get a stinger that references the final 12th step. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. This is shown when Daddy Derek and most of the main cast break the fourth wall and carry their message to alcoholics. There you have it, folks. That is why Cool Cat Saves the Kids is an allegory for the 12 Steps Recovery Program. But just to throw in a little bit of added flair to the underlying theme of this film, there are a few extra bits I'd like to point out. First, if you've watched the movie, then you're probably aware of the line "It's such a beautiful day" being said almost every 5 fucking minutes.
It's a beautiful day.
Wow, what a beautiful day.
Such a beautiful day.
It's such a beautiful day.
Oh, wow, it's such a beautiful day.
This could be an intentional way of the movie reminding the viewer that even if they're struggling to overcome their addiction, to remember to stay positive throughout working the 12 steps and consider every day to be beautiful. Also, as mentioned earlier, there is a second Cool Cat movie titled Cool Cat Kids Superhero. This is a sequel to Cool Cat Saves the Kids that came out about 3 years later. However, it's an almost identical cut of the first movie with some minor touch-ups and a couple of additional scenes. Now, it's pretty fucking ambitious to try telling people about your new movie that is literally just your last movie repurposed and then try selling it. Some would even say it's fraudulent. However, it's unfortunately not uncommon for someone who has completed the 12 steps to eventually relapse, which means they'd have to restart the 12-step program once more. So, in a way, Cool Cat Kids Superhero may just be an ambitious reminder that relapsing and redoing the 12 steps is entirely possible, and warning you not to become complacent in your sobriety. Another interesting fact is that Cool Cat Saves the Kids is actually just 3 short films combined together to create the illusion of one movie. This could be referencing the motto "one day at a time." Instead of presenting us with one movie, Derek Savage has broken the movie into 3 parts, so technically we're watching one short film at a time. Breaking the movie into parts like this makes it way less intimidating to sit through and easier to digest. It's like Daddy Derek is our God guiding us through recovery. And this brings us to the last bit of flair. If I can direct your attention over to the AA triangle for a moment, it's a common symbol at meetings and on sobriety chips. The 3 sides represent unity, recovery, and service. Now, given that Cool Cat Saves the Kids is 3 short films, it's no coincidence that each short not only represents one side of the triangle, but even does so in this exact order. The parade symbolizing unity, the party where Cool Cat learns to mature and stand up for himself symbolizing recovery, or recovering who you are, and practicing gun safety and keeping the world safe symbolizing service. And there you have it, folks. Cool Cat Saves the Kids is all about the 12 Steps Recovery Program and helping addicts overcome their addictions. Hopefully this helps shine a different light on the Cool Cat franchise. We don't need to harass Daddy Derek anymore on Twitter, on YouTube, or anywhere else where this grown-ass man is pretending to be Cool Cat. These films are fun, they're educational, empowering, suspenseful, romantic, and above all, gigantic pieces of shit. Let's be real, they're fucking terrible. So, hi, I'm Steve, I'm an alcoholic, and this was all bullshit. Okay, love you, bye.
Guys, stay safe in this crazy world. And God bless you. And Cool Cat loves you.